Hey everyone, thanks for waiting while the technical aspects were taken care of by the call. It's Bill Sickert bringing to you the Thursday night Q Science product call. We had a great meeting, and before I introduce Dr. Stephen Kimberly to talk about the Q-Biotics product specifically, I wanted to bring up a couple of points that have taken place in the past couple of weeks, and we shared this in the Super Saturday conference, and a lot of you were at that meeting and had a chance to interact with you personally. So you were the first to hear those things, but we're dealing with an all-natural product system here, and it's growing, as we've seen with some of the new products that are coming out and some of the separate products that are coming out. But I just wanted to share something that I shared in that meeting with everybody that's a bit of a turmoil going on in the medical community out there, and a very good thing for us dealing with the natural side of things, and specifically Q96 and what that product has done for people in the past 15 years. And what has happened is the National Institutes of Mental Health have actually taken a very strong stance against the pharmaceutical approach and the traditional approach to mood and care for people and care for issues with mood. And as a result of that, there's a bit of a revolution that's going on. And I'm giving you this information because there really isn't much of an answer for that revolution except for what we are providing the public with an all-natural product with the area of mood enhancement and dealing with some of these issues that we have seen and some of the testimonials that have been fantastic out there. So this change is really a groundswell that's going to be starting in the next month or two, but it's very interesting that an organization as large and pervasive as the National Institutes of Mental Health, who fund all the research for mental health and specifically mood disorders, and now they are saying, we know the system is broke, and we know the system has not worked very well, and we're tired of the existing system of diagnoses and throwing drugs at people. So a lot of you don't know that information, and it's now out there in the public, and it is something that was extremely exciting for me to read, and I literally read it the day before that meeting on Saturday. So that is something that's a business boon for all of us, and certainly an environmental boon for this area of mood enhancement and the products we have with Q96. So I wanted to lead off with that, but more importantly is an area of health that has been enhanced through the use of products called probiotics. But one of the things with probiotics is that they absolutely need to be designed specifically, and the strains of the probiotics that are used are also very important. And we have on the call tonight Dr. Stephen Kimberly, who I've met and talked to in person many times, and I can attest that is probably one of the most medically oriented individuals from his personal training, but from a biochemistry point of view, as well as a naturopathic in dealing with natural medicines, I've never met a man with as much bandwidth and background and interaction capabilities that he presents to us. It's unbelievable. So, Dr. Kimberly, are you there?
Can you hear me now, Bill?
There you go. I knew you'd be there.
It's always a little bit of for me getting unmuted.
Oh, not a problem at all. And then the multiple stars we have to run these conferences is very interesting. But we're on the recorded mode as well, so folks are able to access this after we speak this evening. But I thought it'd be nice to have you kind of go over an introductory component for some of the folks that just joined for the first time, and then get into some of the advanced aspects of the probiotic product, as you so very well do.
Well, thank you, Bill, for that great introduction. And I just want to say I could not be happier that Q-Biotic is now available as a standalone product. And this is something that time has come, and you're all going to benefit just tremendously from this amazing product. First of all, I'll say quite a bit about probiotics in general, and when I speak about probiotics in general, and I talk about Q-Biotics, with Q-Biotics you have the best probiotic available. I am 100% convinced. I've been using probiotics since they first came out in the 70s, in the late 70s, early 80s, and I have never seen a product which gives you the kind of bacterial variety and potency that Q-Biotics gives you. And the beautiful thing about Q-Biotics is the delivery system, that when you hydrate that little tablet, it turns into kind of a cloud of gelatin, which a matrix that revives the bacteria and then delivers the bacteria intact into your lower intestines where they really work and where they live. And, probiotics, probiotics are such an amazing science right now. Almost every day I find a new article coming out with some other amazing attribute of these wonderful substances. When you think about it, all of us have bacteria living in our colon, but we all have a little different mix of bacteria. And the healthiest people have the best probiotics living in their intestines. And people who are sickly, who get sick often or prone to diseases, studies have shown that in general their intestinal flora is not a good mix and it's not healthy. And there are many reasons for this. When you're stressed, when you get sick, when you're exposed to toxins in the environment, when you eat a lot of sugar, all those things kill the normal bacteria in your colon. And that's what gives us the immense need that we have for regular supplementation with probiotics, specifically Q-Biotics, because that's the best. Now, today I read a fantastic article, just came out, that showed that women who took probiotics twice a day regularly had a change in their brain that was noticed on MRI scans. And what happened was that the emotional centers of the brain and the thinking centers of the brain all of a sudden began to coordinate more acutely. And so the conclusion is that taking probiotics not only benefits you physically, but it benefits you mentally and emotionally as well. And this is big news.
And Dr. Kimberly, let me interrupt. I've heard years ago naturopaths, these are doctors that have gone through naturopathy school, literally trained as naturopathic doctors, and they talk about the colon, the digestive tract, as the second brain in the body. And it sounds like what you're getting to is the fact that, if that is intact, then so many other things work as a result of it, almost from the point of view that you can't even measure, or the multiplicity of all that is one study after another.
Exactly. I mean, what this study does is it confirms what we had kind of thought, and that is that, when I take these probiotics, and everybody that I've spoken to who's taken Q-Biotics, to every single person has said, wow, that's a really amazing probiotic. And these are people who know their stuff. And because it actually makes you feel different. I mean, we know that it's good for you. You know that it lowers blood sugar. They lower cholesterol. They enhance weight loss. Improves liver function. We know that they cure intestinal infections. If you take antibiotics and you get antibiotic-associated diarrhea, it can be fatal. But if you've got a good probiotic system going, such as Q-Biotics, that won't happen to you. A study that just came out of Australia in pregnant mothers discovered that pregnant mothers who took probiotics had children who did not have problems with eczema, asthma, and childhood allergies. And that's huge.
We seem to be clipping in and out with Dr. Kimberly. So what Dr. Kimberly was saying is literally, if you have the right amounts of probiotics and the good strains of probiotics, this actually enhances virtually every area of human health. And I have to share, from a product point of view, a bragging right that, definitely Dr. Kimberly's not going to exude from himself, but the way the product is designed and delivered is two very important things. First of all, let me talk about design. The product it must go from the mouth down the esophagus into the stomach and actually get to the intestine, and then in a delivery system where it literally explodes at that point in time correctly due to product design, and actually do the health-giving things that it would be expected to do. That's number one. Number two is when you have that happen, the strains of the bacteria need to be of the kind that have been clinically proven to produce the clinical results that are so good for human health. So you have two things. Basically, you've got to get the football to the quarterback, and then when the quarterback throws it, it's got to get to the right receiver. And that is the deal with Q-Biotics, which is very unusual. And we were talking about this in the meeting back in Utah. If you don't have that, then you have what's called a inert or dead bacteria, and many of the products that exist on the health food store shelves don't have any of the label claim or the probiotic capacity that is listed on the label. That's been proven by a group called Consumer Labs and Consumer Reports as a result of that. So these are the things that you can trust with Q Sciences as a methodology and a technical design point of view, and nothing can be more important than having that in a specific product, which is Q-Biotics. If you're a multivitamin or a mineral, necessarily that's not as important. But with probiotics, it's incredibly clinically important. And when it's there, you get these outstanding clinical studies that are available. And Dr. Kimberly has presented those this evening. So let me check and see if Dr. Kimberly got back on.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Bill?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, good. I don't know why my phone's cutting out, something with the line. But, yeah, I'd like to that's absolutely correct, Bill, and I'd like to add a few tips on how to take Q-Biotics, because I'm sure people have some questions. First of all, I'm so pleased that this is available now in a 60-count bottle, because I know I'm going to be ordering a bunch myself. And I'm going to have the whole family taking it every day. And, if you're under stress, if you're exposed to toxins, if you have a couple of beers and that has a lot of sugar in it, or you eat a piece of cheesecake, you're going to need 2 Q-Biotics that day to really keep your bacteria levels up where you want them. And they can be taken, Q-Biotics can be taken with or without food, because the delivery system ensures that you're going to get the right bacteria down into your lower colon, even if you take it on an empty stomach or with food. Does not matter. I like to take it a little bit before a meal, and you might ask, are there any side effects? No, absolutely not. And you really can't overdose on probiotics, not Q-Biotics. And the only side effect that might be noticed is that, remember, if you have an unhealthy gut bacteria and you put a healthy gut bacteria down there, those strains of bacteria are going to fight one another a little bit. And when that happens, you can get a little bit of an increase in gas, or maybe loose stools for a day or two at most. And once you've established the right bacteria and you're continuing to take the Q-Biotic, that won't be a problem. And everybody that I've spoken to has had a real normalization of their bowel habits. And to give you an example, probiotics were first studied in irritable bowel syndrome, colitis, which is a major problem. And what happens is you get gas, you get bloating, you get cramping, you get diarrhea, you may have constipation, they may alternate. But once you've established a good probiotic in your intestines, such as with Q-Biotics, all those symptoms go away, and that's major.
Dr. Kimberly, talk briefly about the person that says, well, I don't need probiotics. I take cultured cottage cheese. I eat Yoplait yogurt. I mean, we all know that there are some food-based things that are out there that people, I think, are tricked into thinking they're healthy. And even the media has brought this out with yogurts in the past, and there's some real mythology going on there with the effectiveness of that.
Right, and that's a good point. What happens, a yogurt is, by the time you get it in the store, and it's had, even plain yogurt, has a minimal amount of effective probiotics. Yes, the milk has been digested, or it's a cultured cottage cheese. The milk has been digested, and it's certainly better than, say, drinking just regular pasteurized milk. But if you're counting on that as a source of probiotics, it's going to let you down, because it just does not have enough to really colonize your lower intestines. And the minute they add any sugar, like a Yoplait sweetened, it kills any bacteria in there. So that's completely off the table. But I would say that there are very few food sources that can really boost your probiotics. I get probably the best one would be sauerkraut, but that's different. Homemade sauerkraut.
and that's not the culinary delight of a lot of people that are out there. So
exactly.
Q-Biotics makes that a little bit easier.
Q-Biotics is easier.
I love it. Hey, and the one thing that I think is the shot that is heard around the world with effective probiotic supplementation, and this goes back to something that I aligned with many years ago. It's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. So Dr. Kimberly, if you could share just a couple of points on absorption and probiotics. And my discovery was the fact that really it's kind of the root of health.
It is. I mean, probiotics help us digest. Our digestion starts in your mouth, and it goes all the way down to the bottom of your colon. And in your lower colon, where the probiotic levels are the highest, the bacterial levels are the highest, there's some very crucial digestion that goes on there. And trace minerals, are absorbed along with the nutrients that are absorbed. And another thing that is always remarkable to me is the fact that probiotics synthesize, they actually create B vitamins and other micronutrients. And I just think that's just such a great thing to have in your body as a little factory there that could, supplies you with folic acid and vitamin B12 and things that you really need on an ongoing 24 hours a day.
Oh, that's fantastic. And, from many friends I had, even at the collegiate level, when I was in my early 20s, I had friends that had developed, as a result of their diet and literally eating poorly, disease states that were Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome. But I was amazed at how debilitating that was just from a socialization point of view. They literally couldn't go to parties. They were afraid to eat certain things. Even dating was an issue, and yet here we have a product that can address a lot of those situations.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you an example. I had a friend and a patient that had ulcerative colitis, and he had to take strong medication, and he couldn't get his wife pregnant, and he came in to see me, and I got him off of the medication. I put him on a probiotic regimen, and his all his symptoms went away, and within a year, his wife was pregnant.
Jeez, that's fantastic. Well, I think that's a pretty good analysis of Q-Biotics overall. I think the bragging rights for the product just are almost endless. We could probably talk for the next hour, but I only wanted to take 20, 25 minutes and a little bit of your valuable time, Dr. Kimberly, so I really appreciate that. But for the listeners on the call, this is yet another category because people have asked me from a product point of view, it's like Q96 was such a fantastic entree into the United States after all this research, 15 years of research into Q96 alone, the very specific things that were done with the product, 96 hours of development of certain ingredients to make them correct and absorbable into the body, blood-brain barriers, all those things. And tonight's call really was to share with you, with Dr. Kimberly on board and what we're doing with all the other products that are out there, this is really a theme for everybody to understand that really we're thinking through everything and picking the things that are truly aligned with every aspect of human health. Q-Biotics, as Dr. Kimberly attested, he's like, I can't wait to get this in mass to the people that I deal with because it's so core for human health. And we have a design of product that creates the delivery. We have a potency of product with the strains of the actual ingredients that are clinically proven to do the things that result in absorption of many other things. And as Dr. Kimberly has stated, this creates a health factory in the digestive tract so people can actually feel better, notice differences in digestive health, and ultimately get to a better level of even now his own statement of clinical studies leading to women's health and mood and, a betterment of that. So this is really the start of, call it product number 2, but realization number 2 of yet another fantastic avenue. Any final comments, Dr. Kimberly? No, I think we've covered the waterfront there, but boy, I just can't wait to get my first bottle of Q-Biotics. They're coming out as quick as possible. Everybody, thanks so much for joining on the conference tonight. Really appreciate it. It's Bill Sickert, your host and true product lover of the Q Sciences effort, and we really appreciate your time. This call is recorded, so it will be available for people that are interested in educating themselves on probiotics, but more importantly, on the difference. So we enjoy your time. Have a good evening. Take care, everyone.